What if a single phone call, a coin flip, or a heartbreaking tragedy could rewrite the NBA's entire history? Imagine Kobe Bryant bullying the Nets into passing on him in the '96 draft, or a coin toss in 1979 that could have kept Michael Jordan from ever wearing a Bulls jersey. These are the 13 seismic moments in NBA history that sent shockwaves through the league. Each one, a fragile thread in the tapestry of basketball, could have unraveled the sport as we know it. Buckle up, because we're diving into the moments that prove the NBA's past, present, and future hinge on the smallest twists of fate. The coin toss era, when fate decided dynasties. Let's start with the wild, wild west of NBA drafts. Today, the draft lottery is a high-stakes spectacle, but before 1985, things were bonkers. In the NBA's early days, teams picked players until they ran out of names. 21 rounds in 1960 and 68. They didn't even stick to basketball players. NFL icon Jim Brown, a Syracuse running back, got snatched in the 9th round of the 1957 draft by the Syracuse Nationals. Caitlyn Jenner, then Bruce, an Olympic decathlete, was a 7th round pick in 1977 by the Kings. Track star Carl Lewis, nabbed in 1984 by the Bulls as the 208th pick. Why? Because teams could, and they did. But the real madness was the coin toss. From 1966 to 1984, the worst team in each conference flipped a coin for the #1 pick. No weighted lottery, no ping pong balls, just a 50-50 shot at destiny. These flips decided the fates of legends and franchises. In 1969, the Milwaukee Bucks faced the Phoenix Suns in a coin toss for the top pick. The Bucks called heads, and heads it was. They drafted Lou Alcindor, soon to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the UCLA Titan who'd already won 3 NCAA titles and was dubbed the greatest college player ever. Kareem transformed Milwaukee, leading them to a 1971 title and 6 MVP awards. If Phoenix had won, Kareem might have been a Sun, and the Bucks' trophy case could still be empty. Imagine a world where Kareem, not Oscar Robertson, is the Suns' cornerstone. Phoenix might have been a dynasty, and Milwaukee a footnote. 10 years later, another coin flip shook the league. In 1979, the Lakers and Bulls battled for the top pick. The Lakers, thanks to a trade with New Orleans, won the toss and selected Magic Johnson, the Michigan State showman with a smile as big as his passing vision. Magic birthed the Showtime Lakers, 5 titles, and a rivalry with the Celtics that defined the 80s. But if the Bulls had won, Magic in Chicago would have made them instant contenders. No losing seasons, no high draft pick in 1984, and no Michael Jordan as a Bull. The Bulls' 6 titles, MJ's global icon status, and Chicago's basketball legacy might have never existed. Instead, Magic and MJ could have been teammates, or rivals in different jerseys. The coin toss didn't just pick players, it built empires and burned others to the ground. Len Bias, the tragedy that shattered a dynasty. In 1986, the Boston Celtics were on top of the world. Fresh off their 3rd title of the decade, with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish in their prime, they eyed a new prodigy, Len Bias. At Maryland, Bias was a 6'8" freak of nature. Jordan's athleticism with a linebacker's build, a velvet jumper, and footwork that left defenders dizzy. His senior year stats? 23.2 points, 7 rebounds, 55% from the field, and 87% from the line. Analysts whispered he could outshine MJ. When the Cavaliers took Brad Daugherty first in the '86 draft, Boston pounced, grabbing Bias 2nd overall. The Garden erupted. We got the guy we wanted, Coach Casey Jones beamed. Bias was the final piece for a Celtics dynasty. With Bird's passing, McHale's post moves, and Bias's explosiveness, Boston was poised for 5 more years of dominance. Maybe 2 or 3 more rings. Bias himself was ecstatic, telling reporters, "I'm gonna give Boston everything I've got." But 48 hours later, the dream collapsed. Celebrating with friends on Maryland's campus, Bias overdosed on cocaine. At 22, he was gone. His heart stopped by the drug's brutal grip. The news stunned the sports world. Len Bias died of cocaine intoxication, disrupting his brain's electrical activity, doctors reported. Boston's golden era died with him. If Bias had lived, the Celtics might have overwhelmed the league. Bird, who retired with 3 titles, could have had 5 or 6. The GOAT debate, Jordan versus LeBron, might include Bias or Bird instead. The Pistons' bad boys and Lakers' Showtime runs could have been stifled. Bias's death also sparked a cultural shift. The NBA cracked down on drug use, and the tragedy became a cautionary tale for a generation. Without that night, Boston's banner count, the league's drug policies, and the very arc of basketball history would be unrecognizable. LeBron's decision, the dawn of player power, July 8th, 2010. The words echoed across the sports world. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. LeBron James, the Akron kid turned global superstar, stunned the NBA by leaving Cleveland for Miami, teaming with Dwyane Wade and Chris Blell. LeBron didn't just join a team, he rewrote the rules of the game. His televised decision wasn't just a free agency move, it was a seismic shift toward player empowerment. Before LeBron, owners, GMs, and agents held the reins. Trades and contracts were their domain, but LeBron, Wade, and Bosh orchestrated their union, proving stars could dictate terms. The Heat reached 4 straight finals, winning 2 titles. More than trophies, LeBron's move set a precedent. Players saw the power they held. In 2011, Carmelo Anthony flexed his muscle, forcing a trade to the Knicks. New York was my dream, Melo said, and he made it happen. Dwight Howard followed, landing with the Lakers in 2012. It's time for a change, he declared. The trend snowballed. Kawhi Leonard forced his way out of San Antonio to Toronto in 2018. Kevin Durant bounced from OKC to Golden State, then Brooklyn. James Harden engineered moves to Houston, Brooklyn, and Philly. By 2019, when Kawhi signed with the Clippers and pulled Paul George along, the era of player-driven super teams was cemented. We can make history here, Kawhi said, and they nearly did. LeBron's decision didn't just win him rings, it gave players the keys to the kingdom. Love it or hate it, the NBA's power dynamic flipped forever. Tim Duncan's draft, the Spurs' stroke of luck in 1996. The San Antonio Spurs were a proud franchise, led by David Robinson, the Admiral. But when Robinson broke his foot early in the 96-97 season, their title hopes crumbled. Injuries to Chuck Person and Sean Elliott piled on, and the Spurs staggered to a 20-62 record, their worst ever. Enter the draft lottery. With the second best odds, San Antonio defied the odds, landing the number 1 pick. Their choice? Tim Duncan, the Wake Forest big man with a quiet demeanor and a game that screamed dominance. Duncan was no ordinary prospect. At 6'11", he combined post finesse, defensive instincts, and a basketball IQ that coaches drooled over. The Spurs drafted him and history shifted. Duncan delivered 5 titles, 19 straight playoff appearances, and no season below 60% wins. Under coach Greg Popovich, he became the cornerstone of a model franchise. But if Robinson hadn't gotten hurt, the Spurs might have won 40 games, missing the lottery's top spot. The Vancouver Grizzlies, with the worst record, could have taken Duncan. A Grizzlies team with Duncan might have risen to contention, while San Antonio could still be chasing its first ring. Duncan's draft wasn't just a pick, it was the luckiest break in Spurs history. Kawhi's injury, the shot that changed 3 franchises. Kawhi Leonard was the Spurs' next Tim Duncan, a stoic, two-way monster. By 2017, he was a Defensive Player of the Year, an MVP runner-up, and a 50-40-90 shooter. In the 2017 playoffs, Kawhi elevated further, averaging 27.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 4.6 assists on unreal efficiency, 52% from the field, 46% from 3, 93% from the line. In Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, Super Team, KD, Steph, Klay, Kawhi was unstoppable, dropping 26 points in 23 minutes. The Spurs led by 20, then disaster. As Kawhi rose for a jumper, Zaza Pachulia slid his foot under him. Kawhi landed awkwardly, twisting his ankle. He sank 2 free throws, limped off, and the Spurs' lead evaporated. Without him, they fell 113-111, then got swept. Worse, the injury lingered. A quad issue emerged, and Kawhi played just 9 games in 2017-18. Frustrated, he accused the Spurs of rushing his recovery. The rift grew. Kawhi stopped answering calls, even from Popovich. "Oh, you'll have to ask him," Pop said, exasperated. Traded to Toronto in 2018, Kawhi, still not 100%, led the Raptors to their first title. His 4-bounce buzzer beater in Game 7 against Philly, a shot that sent the Sixers packing, changed 3 franchises. If it missed, Philly might have won, kept Jimmy Butler, and built a dynasty. Toronto's title might have never happened. Miami, where Butler later starred, would have pivoted differently. 1 foot, 1 shot, 3 futures alters. Bill Russell's trade, the Ice Capities Heiston 1956. Bill Russell was the prize of the draft, a 6'10" defensive genius from San Francisco. Celtics, with the second best record, had no shot at him, but coach GM Red Auerbach was relentless. Knowing the St. Louis Hawks' owner was reluctant to draft Russell due to racial biases, Auerbach traded All-Star Ed Macauley and Cliff Hagan for the number 2 pick. That got him close, but the Rochester Royals held the top spot and wanted Russell Auerbach's genius shown. The Celtics owner ran the Ice Capadies, a popular ice skating show. Rochester, strapped for cash, couldn't resist Auerbach's offer. Pass on Russell for Ice Capadies performances. They bit. Russell became a Celtic, winning 11 titles in 13 seasons. Capadies performances. They bit. Russell became a Celtic, winning 11 titles in 13 seasons. Without those deals, Russell might have been a Royal or Hawk, and Boston's 17 banners could be half that. Auerbach's hustle, part trade, part showbiz built. The NBA's greatest dynasty. Dr. J's sale. The ABA's collapse. When the ABA folded in 1976, 4 teams joined the NBA. Denver, Indiana, San Antonio, and the New York Nets. Unlike the others, the Nets faced a $4.8 million encroachment fee to the Knicks for sharing New York. Broke, the Nets owner faced a grim choice: sell the team or its star, Julius Dr. J. Irving. He chose Dr. J, shipping the 3-time ABA MVP to Philly. For cash, Dr. J was no ordinary player. His dunks, flair, and charisma made him the ABA's face. In Philly, he became an NBA icon, earning 11 All-Star nods and a 1983 title. The Nets. They plummeted from ABA champs to the NBA's worst team. If the Nets had kept Dr. J, they might have been contenders, not punching bags. The Sixers' 80s dominance, built on Irving's star power, might have belonged to New York. The ABA's collapse didn't just merge leagues, it robbed one team to crown another. The Parrish-McHale steal, Auerbach's bamboozle Red Auerbach, struck again in 1980. The Golden State Warriors had the 3rd pick, and Robert Parrish, a 26-year-old center averaging 17 points and 11.5 rebounds. Auerbach, eyeing Parrish and Kevin McHale, offered the 1st and 13th picks. The Warriors bit, dreaming of Purdue's Joe Barry Carroll, a 7-0 scorer. They got Carroll, Boston got Parrish and McHale. Carroll was solid, 20 points, 8 boards, but nicknamed Joe Barely Cares, he led Golden State to 1 playoff trip. Meanwhile, Parrish and McHale with Larry Bird formed the NBA's greatest frontcourt. Boston won 3 titles, reached 5 finals. If the Warriors kept Parrish, they might have built around him, not Carroll's empty stats. Auerbach's steal of the century left Golden State in the dust and cemented Boston's 80s reign. Portland's draft blunder, Bowie over Jordan. The 1984 draft was loaded. Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, John Stockton. Houston, winning a coin toss over Portland, took Olajuwon, the Houston center with dreamy footwork. Portland, desperate for a big man, eyed Olajuwon's teammate Ralph Sampson, the 1983 number 1 pick and Rookie of the Year. Rumors swirled that Portland offered Clyde Drexler and the number 2 pick for Sampson. Houston declined, and Portland settled for Sam Bowie, a 7-1 center with promise but brittle legs. Bowie played 76 games as a rookie but was plagued by injuries, retiring with 5,564 points. Jordan, picked 3rd by Chicago, became the GOAT, winning 6 titles. If Portland had landed Sampson or taken MJ, they could have paired Drexler with a superstar, maybe winning titles. Houston, with Drexler, Olajuwon, and MJ, could have been a 15-year dynasty. Bowie's bust label isn't fair. His injuries weren't his fault, but passing on Jordan haunts Portland forever. Kobe's draft day threats. In 1996, Kobe Bryant was a 17-year-old phenom, the best high school player in America. With a $48 million Adidas deal, he skipped college, declaring for the NBA. Most teams balked. Too young, too risky, but Lakers GM Jerry West saw a future legend. Kobe's workout with Michael Cooper, a former Defensive Player of the Year, was a massacre. "He's a man playing against kids," Cooper said. The Lakers held the 24th pick, too low for Kobe. West traded Vlade Divac to Charlotte for the 13th pick. Still, Kobe could have been snatched earlier. The Clippers, with the 7th pick, loved him but feared drafting a team. They took Lorenzen Wright. The Nets at number 8 wanted Kobe, but his Adidas deal demanded a big market. Kobe and agent Arn Tellem called, threatening a holdout. Michael Jordan's agent David Falk also pushed for client Kerry Kittles. The Nets caved, picking Kittles. Charlotte took Kobe at 13, then flipped him to LA. If the Nets or Clippers had ignored the threats, Kobe might have been a Net or Clipper, and the Lakers' 5 titles could belong elsewhere. Steph Curry's near trades. Steph Curry, the baby-faced assassin, nearly slipped through Golden State's fingers multiple times. In 2009, the Warriors agreed to trade their number 7 pick for Phoenix's Amare Stoudemire. When the pick became Curry, they balked. Our draft room erupted, Suns GM Steve Kerr recalled. In 2011, Golden State offered Curry to New Orleans for Chris Paul, but CP3 wasn't interested. In 2012, they nearly sent Curry to Milwaukee for Andrew Bogut, but the Bucks doctors vetoed it, citing Steph's ankle issues. In 2014, after a playoff exit, the Warriors eyed Kevin Love, who averaged 26 points and 12.5 boards. The catch? Klay Thompson had to go. Klay wasn't an all-star yet, and the deal was close, until Jerry West, an advisor, threatened to quit. The trade died. A year later, Steph and Klay won their first title. If any of those deals happened, the Warriors dynasty, 4 titles. A 73-9 season might have been Phoenix's, New Orleans, or Minnesota's. Curry's ankles held, and the NBA changed forever. KD's move to Golden State in 2016, the Warriors went 73-9, breaking the Bulls' 72-10 record, but in the finals, Cleveland staged a 3-1 comeback, stealing the title. That loss opened a door. Kevin Durant, a free agent, wanted to join a contender, not a champion. The Warriors, humbled, needed him. KD signed, forming a juggernaut with Steph, Klay, and Draymond. They reached 3 straight finals, winning 2. The Warriors had won in 2016, KD might have stayed in OKC or gone elsewhere. LeBron, who beat Golden State in 2016, could have added 1 or 2 more rings without KD's Warriors in the way. The GOAT debate, MJ versus LeBron, might tilt differently. KD's move didn't just win titles, it redefined super teams and sparked debates about competitive balance that still rage today. The Dream Team basketball goes global in 1988. The US Olympic basketball team, college kids, settled for bronze, outplayed by the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia. The world was catching up. NBA Commissioner David Stern and the Olympic Committee decided enough was enough. For 1992, they unleashed the pros. The Dream Team, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and more, stormed Barcelona. They didn't just win gold, they captivated the globe. For many worldwide, it was their first glimpse of NBA stars. Jordan's dunks, Magic's passes, and Barkley's bravado made basketball a global obsession. The Dream Team's impact was seismic. International players, Dirk Nowitzki, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, flooded the NBA. By 2025, over 25% of NBA players are international. The league's revenue, global reach, and talent pool exploded. Without the Dream Team, basketball might still be an American niche, not a worldwide phenomenon. The ripple effect, these 13 moments, coin flips, tragedies, trades, and choices, show how fragile NBA history is. A single call from Kobe, a foot under Kawhi, or an Ice Capades deal for Russell could have flipped the script. Dynasties might have crumbled, legends might have faded, and the GOAT debate could have new names. The NBA we love is a house of cards, built on chance, courage, and heartbreak. Next time you watch a game, remember, one moment can change it all.